What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. DK Show is on the air on your radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com. You can also check out the video stream that's currently up on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, the Sports Talk app. Hopefully, you're all off to a fantastic start on this a little bit of a rainy start, depending on where you are listening to us from. But hey, we got boatloads to catch up on here this morning. Let's go through the game plan. Last night, Bucks dominant through the first 3 quarters of the game. Never really looking back, getting game 2 victory 138-122 without the Greek freak himself, Giannis. Although he was upgraded from doubtful to questionable before the game, sitting out, not playing in this game, and everybody else stood up, and it was a nice kind of balanced attack from the Bucks last night. You know, Brook Lopez, we were talking about him as a guy that's, me personally would have liked to seen shoot more than 7 times like he won. He did just that, going 12 of 17 from the field, 25 points. Drew Holiday having a better offensive game as well, 24 points. Middleton, 16. Grayson Allen, 16. Every starter was in double-figure scoring. Bobby Portis, 13. But production off the bench, Pat Connaughton returning and getting 22 points, 8 of 12 from the field, including 6 of 10 from 3. Joe Ingles, 17 points, 5 of 6 from 3. That's what we're talking about here. Bucks getting it done, getting game 2. Now the series moves to Miami Saturday night. Tied up. Bucks overall shot 53.5% from the field, 51% from 3. And the Heat weren't that bad either. I mean, they shot 53.6% from the field and 44.4% from 3. 44.4% from 3 is still pretty darn solid, considering, too, that the Heat were one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the regular season this past season. So, but the box score probably looks a little bit closer than what it really was because when you look at the fourth quarter, Heat trying to make a run, trying to catch up in that. Outscored them by 17 in the fourth there. Bucks only putting up 20 after putting up 35, 46, and 37 in the first 3. But it was just too much of a lead there for the Heat to try to catch up to them. So, but we got the dub. We got the W. Drew Holiday talking after the game too, said that he told Giannis that we'll hold it down. Well, we got it. Holiday saying, I know you're going to want to come back, but if you don't, just know we got you. And they did. Middleton saying afterwards, it takes the whole team. I think you saw that tonight. It wasn't just one guy that carried us. A lot of people might expect me or Drew to take on all the load that Giannis does, but what he does, we can't match. We have to do it by committee. So we'll chat about this game, recap this game coming up here in just a little bit. Before that game, though, yesterday afternoon, Brewers come from behind victory yesterday to complete the sweep against the Seattle Mariners, putting up 5 runs in the 7th to get that 5-3 victory yesterday, going 7-3 on their West Coast trip. They finally get an off day today, a much-deserved off day before they face the Boston Red Sox starting tomorrow. Eric Lauer going 7 2/3 yesterday, 2 earned runs, picking up the win. Matt Bush picking up the save yesterday, but Brewers scoreless through the first 6, and then finally in the 5th or the 7th, Watergate's started to open up a little bit. Got the rally, 5 runs in the 7th, so completing the sweep, improving to 14-5 overall on the season. Wow, man. What else can we say about this Brewers team so far through the first, 19 games on this season? Man, but what a fantastic. It was, I read a stat yesterday, or maybe a little bit of a nugget. It's not really a stat. before the season started, if you look at these, and I'm not big on these, but I think it's a little, kind of interesting nugget, fun nugget, whatever you want to call it. But, strength of schedule wise, I'm not always the biggest fan of those. But before the season started, Brewers had the third hardest strength of schedule in the first couple weeks of the season, first month or so in the season. And here we are, Brewers 14-5, sweeping the Mariners, taking 3 out of 4 against the Padres, taking a series against the Cardinals, sweeping the Met, or taking the Mets, sweeping the Mets. So, yeah, fantastic start. What else can we say about this team? Really, what else can we say? Garrett Mitchell is going on the injury list. He was spotted yesterday with his arm in a sling. Now it is just on the 10-day IL until they can get some more testing done. At this point, we'll see how long he's going to be out after we hopefully find some more answers or not. But hopefully it won't be too long. But we'll talk plenty of baseball coming up here in just a little bit as well. Coming up on our leadoff. What else do we got on the docket here today? We are 1 week away from the NFL draft. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm starting to kind of really kick it into gear here. Been playing around with some mocks and kind of seeing how things might shake out before I get my mock done for next week. So, but 1 week away, officially 1 week away from the start of the NFL draft. Has anybody, if you kind of been following along, has any of these dudes really kind of, I guess, popped out to you? Like, the closer that we are now, is anybody just kind of like, okay, that's my draft crush. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Spit it out, Dan. Who is your draft crush right now for your team? Whether it's Green Bay, maybe we got some Vikings or Bears fans listening or something like that. But who is your draft crush 1 week away? Like, I would love that dude suited up for my team. Let me know. Start hitting me up with some texts, okay, on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. So we'll throw a little football chat into this into this conversation. Yesterday too, it was announced, or I guess it was posted up on Twitter after we were just talking about him with RJ on Tuesday, and then in the back end of last week for Badger basketball. But Reynolds, the kid from Wyoming, or played for Wyoming, is originally from Illinois, decommitting already from Wisconsin. He posted up on Twitter yesterday that after consulting with friends and family, I have decided that it is no longer in my best interest to attend the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Thank you to Coach Guard and the rest of the staff, but I will be reopening my recruitment. So, I mean, I guess at this point now, Wisconsin doesn't have to figure out where they're going to get the extra scholarship and such, but nonetheless, a little bit of a damper there. So, but what else we got? We're going to do some Throwback Thursday here. It is a Thirsty Thursday too, so if you want to do any shout outs, you can hit us up with those texts, tweets, Facebook, comment on the video stream. We'll catch up with Jake Bulks, our Wisconsin Conservation Warden friend, at about 8:30. We'll do some receive or defer before that, probably around 7:45-ish. So we'll hit that up too. Just a little bit of a program note. Today is the last show for this week. I'll be off tomorrow, hopefully staying dry as we try to do a little turkey hunting. So if you tune on tomorrow morning and you hear CBS Sports or something like that, now you know why. So this is the last show for this week. We'll be back on Monday there, getting ready for draft week, no doubt about it. So, but hey, should we just jump into it? We got a boatload to catch up on, and there's some other stuff I want to talk about too. Outside of Wisconsin, obviously. I mean, we've got Stanley Cup playoffs going on. Minnesota, the Wild dropping game 2 last night, 7-3 against Dallas. Carolina getting a victory in overtime to go up 2-0. You got Florida tying it up with Boston. Edmonton getting a 4-2 victory over the Kings. So we got that. I want to talk, there's the A's, the Oakland A's. Well, looks like they've agreed to buy some land in Vegas. You got another Oakland team moving to Vegas. Sure looks like officially right now. Tiger Woods having ankle surgery. What does that mean for the rest of his season? So we got lots to catch up on here. Max Scherzer getting ejected after his hand was inspected, his glove was inspected. Oh, man, let's get at it. So we'll take that first break, and then the leadoff. We'll just do a little bit of a buffet here. We'll talk some Bucks basketball picking up the win last night, tying this series up. Game 3 now going to Miami. Brewers come from behind victory, sweeping the series against the Seattle Mariners, 15-4 in their first or 14-5, excuse me, did I say 15-4? 14-5 in their first 19 games of the season. A lot of great stuff happening right now. So let's get at it. Quick break, lead off coming up. We'll talk both baseball and basketball to open up things. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Start your morning off with a nice freshly brewed coffee from our good friends from Cabin Coffee, River Prairie in Altoona. Maybe coffee's not your thing. Well, they've got a full-on menu with some awesome smoothies over there too. Breakfast, looking to grab a quick sandwich. Well, you can go check out their breakfast sausage wrap, including the Southwest one. It's big portions over there too, so you're not going to get any dinky small sandwich or anything like that. Plus, maybe if you're looking for a little quick bite to eat for lunch, try out the Cabin Club. That's my favorite over there. Great big portion sizes. I mean, if anybody's seen Joe, that's a big guy over there too. So
the boss is big enough. He's
exactly.
not going to make a dilly little sandwich.
When he's a former Badger offensive lineman, you know you're going to get some big portion sizes over there. So all at a great price too. But start your mornings off and visiting our friends at Cabin Coffee, Altoona, River Prairie Drive. So and say hi to Joe too. He'll chat with you. He's very friendly. He looks big. He is big, but he's a friendly guy.
Yep.
So
you got to look up to Joe.
Mm-hmm. More ways than one, right?
That's right. That's right. Good guy.
How you doing, man? You got to be feeling pretty good right now with this Brewers and Bucks with the big victory last night.
Yeah, that was a big win last night, and it's what has to happen. You know, I know you said it before the series started, and we've talked about it. You get a little nervous about playing Miami because Miami is pretty athletic. And some of the Bucks aren't, Brooks Lopez is a good player, but he's not one of those athletic kind of guys that, can do some of the ballet type of things that some of those big guys can do. And Miami has some of those guys. So I was glad to see they played so well last night without Giannis. And, it gives confidence to the other guys that, they had to win that. I mean, that was back to the wall game last night. Say, well, they would only gone down 2-0, but they were going down 2-0 and going to Miami. So they had to win that game last night. And I think that accomplished more than just getting a victory. I think it accomplished confidence in a lot of those guys and gave them an idea that, Giannis is our guy. But we've got some other guys here that can also play the game.
Very nice balanced attack from the Bucks. As we mentioned, all starters in double-figure scoring, and then Joe Ingles and Pat Connaughton also double-figure scoring last night. You had Brook Lopez, 25, Drew Holiday, 24, Pat getting in the action for the first time in a little bit, 22 coming off the bench. Joe Ingles, 5 of 6 from 3 last night. The unorthodox high shooting three-pointer that he always has.
I didn't watch the game. Did Middleton play?
He did.
I didn't watch it. I was out.
Yep, 16 points,
good.
28 minutes of action for him too. So Portis, Middleton, Portis, the two main guys in the first game, leading or scoring-wise. A little bit 16 and 13 respectively, but that's okay. It's a little bit more of a balanced attack last night. They got off to a fast start, which, I think we kind of talked a little bit about it yesterday. Get that crowd into it right away. They were into it right away, but make sure they stay into it right away. Get it rocking. And then they did that for the first 3 quarters, especially in the second quarter, outscoring them 46-27 in that second quarter.
Yeah, I was kind of listening off and on, in and out, so I wasn't full attention, but I could see that they had it going, and that was a good thing.
Setting a franchise playoff record, 81 points in the first half.
Yeah, that's
one of the slackers not getting 100. Come on now.
Really?
So the series now moves to Miami on Saturday. And before the game yesterday, Giannis was elevated from doubtful to questionable, which kind of maybe some people were speculating, could he play? Drew Holiday said after the game that they told him, hey, we know you want to play and all that, but we got you. If you got to sit down, we got you. I would expect Giannis to probably play game 3 at this point, Saturday nights.
Yeah, so that gives him a couple, 3 nights to rest. So I think, too, he'll probably be chomping at the bit to get out there. I just hope he, doesn't try and overdo.
That's the main thing with Giannis, right? You got to protect him from himself.
Exactly. That's the thing. Some of the moves he makes going down the middle, I'm surprised he doesn't get hurt more often because, he's a tall, gangly guy, and he can get hit when he's taking that Euro step and get knocked off his pattern and get, it just he's just kind of like I don't know, a lanky guy that's uncoordinated. It's hard to say that, but he's just all over the place. He's like he's completely double jointed all over the way he goes down the middle sometimes.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to work out sometimes, and
Yeah.
then somehow it just looks smooth at the end when he finishes at the hoop. So, but big win for the Bucks last night. Hopefully, they can take back home court advantage. Yeah, game 3 against Miami on Saturday. So that tip time, I just had it up here. Let me get it back here in case anybody's wondering. That tip time will be at 6:30. 6:30. So again, Tyler Hero is not going to be playing. He's done for this, which I know a lot of people the other day were kind of criticizing Reggie Miller because Reggie Miller said, something like that's a bigger injury and that. And he wasn't saying, Tyler Hero's more critical than Giannis. But Tyler Hero missing the playoffs as opposed to Giannis maybe missing a game or two is more detrimental to Miami, is what Reggie Miller was trying to. But he was catching a lot of flack the other day for that.
Well, I can understand what he was. I think
Mm-hmm.
Miami's not as deep as Bucks.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
and
exactly.
So when
it.
you take a player out of his category and his caliber, I think it does hurt because Tyler Hero is a very good player. I mean, he's more than one aspect of the game. He's a good defender. He's one of these guys that feels the floor and he can get to the place where the rebound is going to come down. He won't get a lot of rebounds, but he'll get key rebounds, those 3-pointers that bounce off a long way. He can figure out where they're going to go. He's a valuable player, good ball handler, good passer, and we know he can score.
Definitely. Other scores from last night: Memphis evening up their series against the Lakers, 103-93. Denver taking a 2-0 lead against the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Timberwolves tried hard last night; they just couldn't get it done.
Yep, 122-113. So, the schedule for for games tonight on the NBA calendar, by the way, because they're kind of like releasing some of the awards here. I didn't realize this, but no big surprise. Mike Brown became Coach of the Year, but he's the first ever unanimous Coach of the Year.
Wow, deservedly so, but that surprises me.
I did not realize that.
Sacramento has been nothing for over a decade.
And they're winning their series right now 2-0. They have a chance to go up 3-0 against Golden State.
And I've been watching some of that. And where's the kid from Iowa, this Keegan Murray? I haven't seen him. Is he hurt? I haven't seen him play at all. And earlier in the season, they were talking about him being a big part of the Sacramento resurgence, but I haven't seen Keegan Murray on the floor, whether I've just missed it or whatever. But they got a lot of guys that are playing, but I haven't seen Keegan Murray really in the mix, and I haven't, devoted all my time to watching him, but I didn't see him on the floor at all. Now, I don't know if he's hurt or not.
No, yeah, he had a little bit of a struggle in game. I know in game 1 there for Sacramento, but game 2 he finished with just 2 points. 16 minutes in action, and just 2 points in that game 2 victory.
Yeah, so I thought he was playing. The playoffs, you shorten your bench, so maybe he's a victim of a shortened bench.
Yeah, so. But they got a heck of a chance tonight. I thought Golden State was going to win this series, but Sacramento picks up the win tonight.
I couldn't believe why not everybody, but so many people were saying Golden State's going to win the West. I don't know how they could say that.
Everybody was like Golden State and Lakers.
And I don't know what they saw in Golden State that they were going to win the West.
I don't know if it's just because last year, defending champs, they're getting Andrew Wiggins back or something. But, I mean, I don't know.
They talk now about the big men aren't as important as they were in the past. The Kareems and all the big guys that were so important over the years. Golden State doesn't have any big men, and it's hurting them. I mean, when you got Draymond Green guarding the center, he's not a 5. He's maybe a 4. But he can't guard a 5. And Looney, the kid from Milwaukee that plays for Golden State, he's a big, but he's not what I would call a quality big man that can take you to a championship.
Right.
So I think there's something to be said about having at least 1 or 2 big men that are big men. Brook Lopez, we have for the Bucks, and even Bobby Portis can go in there and play better than Draymond Green does, I think. So I think that's what's really hurting. I mean, you got all their 3-point shooters, and Wiggins is back, But I think it's really hurting Golden State not having a big guy or two.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I definitely think that's a good point. So, yeah, and then the other games coming up for the schedule tonight. So Kings could potentially go up 3-0 against the Warriors tonight. You got Philadelphia, Brooklyn. Philadelphia could go up 3-0. And then you got Phoenix and the Clippers as well. That series tied at 1 apiece right now. So let's got any more hoops? Yeah, I was going to transition to baseball here quick. We got
Go for it.
all right. So Brewers come from behind victory yesterday. 5 runs in the 7th to get the sweep of the Seattle Mariners. Well-deserved off day today for the Brewers. It's been their first one since April 6th. So well-deserved off day as they traveled back yesterday to Milwaukee to begin a nice long stretch at home. Boston, Detroit, and the Angels all coming to Milwaukee. So the Brewers will be in Milwaukee all the way through April 30th coming up here. So, but no quit in this team. Holy moly.
Haven't they been something to watch? I'll tell you, different. I mean, I watched the game, not yesterday's game, but the day before. Yelich starts it out with a home run. Got 2 or 3 hits, and I don't know, maybe it's inspiring him a little bit too. So, but these young guys, and as you said, there's no quitting these guys. And I just hope they don't wear down as the season goes on. Right now, for these young rookies, it's all, wide-eyed and going after it. And I'll tell you, I thought by now some of the pitching would catch up with the young guys, but they're doing well.
They are. Joey Weimer had a nice little bounce back game yesterday, collecting a couple hits for himself as well. Eric Lauer, as we mentioned, went a strong 7 2/3, which that was a much needed start from a starter after going extra innings, the other nights. But he picked up his 3rd win of the season, giving up just 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 4 hits, and just 1 walk there. Matt Bush picking up the save. As well at the end there too. So it's been, I don't know what else we could say about this start for this Brewers team that we haven't already said.
And Lauer's a nice surprise. He's not ever going to be, 12, 14 strikeouts, but he's got to do like he did yesterday. He's got to move ball around, keep the other team off balance. I know he gave up a long home run, but for the most part, he's got to keep them off balance, inside, outside, up, down, those sorts of things. So that they don't get the bat on the ball, so to speak, solidly, and to keep the ball in the ballpark. He's a very, very functional pitcher.
Yeah. Yesterday, Garrett Mitchell was spotted in a sling with his shoulder. He was placed on the 10-day injured list, but he's going to undergo more testing in Milwaukee to get a more accurate timeline of how long he will potentially be out at this point. But again, Brewers, they've got that depth in that outfield.
Do they know exactly what his injury is?
Yeah, the shoulder subluxation. I can never say this. Subluxation, like kind of popped out sort of thing.
Okay,
thing. So, but hopefully it's nothing way too serious at this point.
You don't want to lose anybody now.
Corbin Burns, for what it's worth, he is penciled in to get his start this weekend. So any concern about him leaving early the other day with that pec injury? He's penciled in.
Pitching.
Yeah, the left side there.
Yeah.
So he's penciled in to still get the start. So thumbs up there that he's nothing lingering over there at this point. But, I'm just saying, too, I'll bring this up. You know who's hitting in AAA right now for the Brewers?
Probably Keston Hiura.
Keston Hiura right now. He's tattooing the ball in AAA. I mean, I don't foresee him coming up at any time soon because really what's the position that he would come in, but he's
DH.
Could, yep. But it's, I don't know, because again, remember he's out of options too. So when you bring him up, you're probably going to want to keep him up there for a while. But
I was going to ask that same question of how many more times can they bring him up and down, because he's had a career of going up and down.
Yeah, yesterday he's up to 7 homers and a 1.039 OPS so far.
Good stuff.
Is he
Where is he? Is he in AAA?
AAA.
Well,
is he one of those guys too, though, that's just he's destined for AAA?
Yeah, there are a lot of those guys that have had a career in the minors, ended up in AAA for quite a few years, and just never, ever caught on.
You know, there was a comparison yesterday that I thought was an interesting comparison career-wise for Keston. This was from J.R. Radcliffe, who we've had on the program before from Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And I kind of forgot about this. As he noted, Nelson Cruz, who's, well, you know, big-time hitter with the Padres right now throughout his career, older now, but he was 27 years old prior to the 2008 season when the Texas Rangers designated him for assignment out of spring training, cleared waivers, and joined AAA Omaha. He became the PCL MVP and joined the big league team in August. And he's went on to have a nice career after that. Keston is 26, so 1 year younger. So still time for Keston to, you know, make a name for himself in the big leagues.
Yeah, there was a lot of anticipation when they drafted him and watched him go through the minors and brought him up. And boy, all of a sudden, he just couldn't hit a lick. He was really off balance. You watch him hit, and, you know, they had his number, throw that slider down and away, and you're striking him out. And hopefully he's mastering that a little bit. But, you know, you want to see every kid that has a dream of playing Major League Baseball make it to Major League Baseball. I know it doesn't happen and it can't happen, but he's one that a lot of anticipation when he was drafted and when he first came up. But he just kept sputtering and stuttering and slipping and sliding and just hadn't been able to hang on.
Or, you know, the other part in this thing too is like, all right, he's hitting hot in AAA right now. Is his stock up for trade?
Good point.
A little bit there too, potentially, maybe. But
I hope he continues this. This is only April, but you know, we get into July and August, they start looking for bats, the teams that are in contention, and hopefully the Brewers are in contention still. I don't know how far up are they in the division? I think they're in first place, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they're up in first place.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll continue, and the guys that are on the roster now, on the Major League roster, are going to stay healthy and continue to produce. But if they don't, it's nice to have a guy like Keston here in your back pocket.
And they're up 2 games on the Cubbies and Pirates. Cubs right now 11-6, Pirates 12-7. Cardinals 6 games back, 8-11. So
Cardinals are a little disappointing so far.
Pirates a nice little surprise so far.
Oh,
right
absolutely.
Now, 12-7.
I think the Cubs are to a certain extent too, and the Brewers.
Yeah,
I think, you know, everybody picked the Cardinals to win that division. And of course, it's only April; they've only played 20 games, and so there's a whole lot more to do.
Absolutely, yeah. You're looking at the standings across Major League Baseball. I mean, Brewers have the same record as Atlanta, 14-5, 14-5. Maybe a little bit of surprise too in the NL West. Arizona leading that that division over there. They're the only team above 500 right now in the NL West. 11-8. Everybody else is at least a game below 500. So Tampa Bay doing their thing, 16-3. Baltimore right now is kind of on a little bit of a nice run here. They've won 3 in a row, so they're tied with the Yankees for second in that, but Toronto's right behind them. I got a feeling that's going to just be a competitive division.
Yeah, that will be all year. I think most divisions are going to be competitive as we go through the season, and I think the division the Brewers are in is going to get. I was reading an article about the pitching for the Cardinals hasn't been all that good, and they're placing some of the blame on who was it? The Cubs catcher that went over there, Contreras.
Oh, Contreras, yeah,
went over there. That he doesn't seem to be. He's frustrating the pitching coaches because he doesn't always follow the pattern that they're setting up for these starters and the way he calls the game. So whether or not they're going to correct that, or whether or not that's really the problem, I don't know. But there was speculation that he's not fitting in the best with that Cardinal pitching staff.
Interesting. So. Then what the rest there we got Texas finally with all that money that they've been spending. They're leading their division currently right now.
Their shortstop, Corey Seager, that they got from the Dodgers, he's out. So they're doing it without him.
Yep. Exactly. So and then you got the Twinnies holding on to their division lead over Cleveland right now, but I think we all know that one's probably going to come down close to the wire when it's all said and done, whether it's between Minnesota and Cleveland. I don't know if the White Sox can make any moves. I still
can't get used to the Guardians. They say the Guardians won. Well, the basketball, hockey, who are those? Who's the Guardians? I just can't get used to that.
Houston right now, 9-10, so they're under 500 as well. They're third in their division.
Altuve's still not back. He's a difference maker for them.
So, but yeah, lots of baseball left to be played, but nonetheless, perfect off day here for the Brewers to kind of take a little bit of a breath and hopefully, I mean, they've got an opportunity looking at this schedule, I think, to finish off this month of April on a really strong note. Boston, I mean, they could beat Boston. Detroit, they could beat Detroit. Everybody's going to be excited to see Ohtani and Trout come to town at the end of the month. But I mean, the Brewers have a really good opportunity, I think, to finish off this month on a really strong note and go into May where they got Colorado and the Giants, and then it's that Dodgers series right after that. So, but
yeah, and I think and again, we've talked about it so many times. I think the stadium, American Family Field, is a plus for the Brewers. I mean, if they were home today with a day off, they're sitting watching movies or watching tape. This way they can get out on the field and they can practice, even though it's rainy and windy and cold. You can get out on the field and practice. So that I think this field makes a big difference for them. Keeps them in shape.
I mentioned it the other day, and they've gone down a little bit in the standings, but it doesn't feel like the Brewers are like a top 10 team in home runs because it feels like they've kind of gotten it done in other ways. And the other day they were actually 8th, but now they're down to 11th for the most home runs across Major League Baseball. Tampa Bay is running away with it right now at 42. Oh, wait, let me strike that. Milwaukee's 7th right now, not 11th, but they're 7th. Does that surprise you that they're actually got the 7th most home runs?
Surprises me a lot.
Yeah.
Beginning of the season, I said, well, if they're in the middle of the pack, that would be good. But if they're in 7th, that's outstanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How many does Rowdy Tellez have?
It's 5 or 6 right now.
Yeah. And, Yelich has 2 or 3, but it's guys you didn't expect that are hitting some home runs that have the Brewers in 7th place.
Yeah, Tellez 5, Willie Adames 4, Brian Anderson 3, Garrett Mitchell 3, Yelich 3. Those are your leaders. Then you got a couple, Trangs 2, Mike Brosseau's 2, and then Joey Weimer 1. But it's like Contreras, the new catcher, 0. Jesse Winker, 0. Guys that you thought would kind of be but to me, it feels like that they don't even have that many because they've been playing a little bit more small ball. Like the final game against the Padres, with that 1-0 victory. It was Garrett Mitchell being aggressive on the base pass, putting down the bunt, then getting the extra base, then stealing third, and then sac fly getting home. Wouldn't have thought that would have made the difference, but that was the only difference in the game.
And you wonder how much counsel is involved in that. Or did Mitchell put the bunt down on himself? Do these guys have the permission to go when they feel like they can make it? And how much counsel is actually calling this particular pitch we're going to steal, and this is the time to lay down a bunt. I don't know how much because he his press conferences aren't worth listening to because he never says anything. But and I don't know if they're asking him those kinds of questions. But I don't know how much he's orchestrating some of the movement of this team. Different from past years, but he's got different players than he had past years too. He's got some guys that are faster, that can run, and I'm sure he knows that. He's a major league manager, so hopefully he's taking advantage of that. And 13-5, that's an awful good start. Especially with his 14-5. Thank you.
Yeah.
Especially with his start. This is because they left one day and played in Milwaukee. They flew to the West Coast and played the very next day. So it's not like they had a down day. They went right out there. This is, as you said earlier, this is the first off day they've had in quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
So this team has answered the bell.
Yeah. I kind of mentioned in the opener, if you're one of those that kind of believes in these nuggets or numbers or whatever have you, Brewers were, before the season, had the 3rd toughest schedule to open up the season. Based off strength of schedules and all that. And when you look at the calendar, it's not that hard before the season started to Mets and Cardinals, and then 4 against the Padres, and then the Mariners, a playoff team on there. It's like, yeah, good luck for the Brewers. You go 7-3 on a West Coast trip. I'll take that any day of the week and twice on Sunday. I don't care what point of the season.
That was a good road trip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hopefully they can continue this nice little run here right now. It's a long season. They got a few more months to go here. We know they're probably going to go through, a little bit of a slump at some point. Odds are they're going to probably lose a couple games in a row or a few games, but nonetheless, got to love the start that they're on right now. So
you got to love the way they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
The start always is, the record is the bottom line, but you got to enjoy the way they're playing. It's not the boring boring team that we've watched, and I don't know another word to use, but go up there and try and hit a 2 or 3 run home run. Now, as you said, that 1-0 victory, they move the ball around, put pressure on the defense, and that's baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the Mitchell bunt, I was trying to find this. So this was Mitchell's comments after the game. I saw Machado was not super far back, but not super in. Right before Darvish got set, I made the decision I was going to put the ball down and see what happens. So sounds like Mitchell was the one who made that decision.
And that's a good baseball mind. That's the kind of guy you want that knows the game and can make it happen.
Yeah, he said then too, it was right when I got on first. Talking about stealing and that too. It was right when I got on first. He had stepped on the rubber, then stepped off to restart. So QB, first base coach, and I checked and asked, is that one disengagement? They said yes. I think obviously blah blah blah. So yeah, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, made the youngster making that decision to put it down there.
And to understand, I've never been on first base, and that's the first base coach. Was that a disengagement? I mean, the game is, with these rules, the way they've changed it, the game is a little different, and you've got to understand the nuances of the way the rules are being enforced now and what rules. I mean, last night, Max Scherzer got kicked out of a game.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. Yeah,
water and rosin
yep.
made a sticky substance, and the umpire, that's the stickiest substance I've ever had in the last 3 years, and so he kicked him out. And Scherzer says it was nothing but I went in and washed my hands. I washed my hands with, it wasn't soap, it was something else that got everything off. And he came back out, and it was rosin. I don't know what if he did or didn't use an illegal substance, but boy, I'll tell you, the rules are different this year.
Yep. Yeah, they really are. So, but I was going to bring that up. So let's take that first, or take our break quick and bring that up, because there are a couple more baseball things I wanted to bring up with the Scherzer, and the A's might finally have a new home. If you didn't hear about that, we'll tell you coming up next. So outside of the Brewers come from behind victory yesterday, the big news from baseball was Max Scherzer ejected after what the officials are saying a sticky substance. Yeah, as you were saying, in turn, the umpire yesterday saying to a pool reporter, both Phil and I touched his hand as far as stickiness, level of stickiness. This was the stickiest that it has been since I've been inspecting hands, which now goes back 3 seasons. Compared to the first inning, the level of stickiness, it was so sticky that when we touched his hand, it's a lot of sticky in here, our fingers were sticking to his hand, and whatever was on there remained on our fingers afterwards for a couple of innings, where you could still feel that the fingers were sticking together. So here's how it all played out a little bit in case you missed it. So yesterday, Scherzer initially met with Bellino in the middle of the second inning for a routine sticky substances check, which has been part of the MLB protocol since 2021. During that exchange, umpire Kuzi told Scherzer that his hand was too sticky, that he needed to wash it off, and that he would be checked again before he returned to the mound for the third. So Scherzer descended into the clubhouse and washed his hands with alcohol in front of an MLB official. But when Scherzer returned for the third inning, Kuzi said that his glove was sticky with the foreign substance, which Scherzer claimed was rosin. They asked Scherzer to exchange his glove for a new one, which he did before retiring the side in order. As Scherzer returned for the bottom of the fourth, he again was stopped, causing Scherzer to begin adamantly arguing his case. After about a minute, was ejected on the grounds of illegally using a foreign substance. Scherzer was saying, "I swear on my kid's life, I'm not using anything else. This is sweat and rosin, sweat and rosin. I keep saying it over and over, and they touch my hand. They say it's sticky. Yes, it is, because it's sweat and rosin." So suspension potentially could be in the works here for Scherzer and such, but
yeah, I mean, it's
sticky situation.
But it's a subjective deal, because the umpires say it's sticky, but he says it's rosin and water, it gets sticky. So is the rule defined that any sticky substance, no matter what it is, even a legal substance, if it gets sticky, you can't use? I just don't understand. It's a very subjective rule right now.
I want to do a science experiment. For anybody who's listening and you're a science teacher, go do it with your class and tell us how sticky does sweat and rosin get together. Like, how's any middle school science teachers listening right now? Let's do this and report back to us. Because Scherzer was, I mean, if you haven't seen the video, he was
upset.
Yeah, very upset about being ejected. I mean, he looks like a guy who is if you're just basing it off of video feed and that, guy who really believes he shouldn't have been ejected, like he wasn't caught cheating or anything like that. And I mean, this is a guy who's been doing it at a high level for a very, very, very long time. So,
well, and my question is, he's been checked every time he's pitched in the last year or two since they've been doing all this checking, and this is the first time it's ever shown up.
Yeah,
that was my question. I thought, well, why hasn't that been discovered earlier? That makes me think that, is it just rosin or is it not? Or was he using a new kind of rosin? I don't know the answer to that, but it raises a lot of questions in my mind.
Because was that a couple years ago when we were having this discussion about pitchers and they were, trying to get more control on the ball sort of thing, and pitchers were like, well, we want to make it safe so we're not hitting batters and all that sort of stuff. Should they be allowed to have more of a substance on there to control pitches and that? But
you get more spin on your curveball.
Yeah.
And,
to quote Major League Bardall.
Yeah, really and truly. So I don't know what's going to come of it. And if they do any kind of investigation and it's just the regular rosin that everybody is available to, then what do you do? Apologize to Scherzer or what? Because umpires, it's a sticky substance. It's more sticky than should be allowed. You're out of here. They were doing their job. I can't blame them.
Yep.
But I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be, because Scherzer is going to appeal this to the
Uh,
powers that be in Major League Baseball, what kind of a decision they're going to come up with, if any. But I'd like to see that done by some of these maybe middle school or high school chemistry teachers or whatever.
Yep, I agree. Maybe he took a little bit of advice, or should have taken some advice from Eddie from Major League. If the umpires, like, when he's telling Rick Vaughn,
Mm-hmm.
umpires are watching me a little too close, I'll put a little jalapeno up my nose and get a little snot on the ball there. Maybe it was snot. Maybe that's what it was sticky on.
Who knows? I don't know. But when he washes his hands in alcohol, that makes your fingers pretty darn slippery.
Yeah.
I mean, they're smooth, and that means that you can't get that grip on the ball, that tight spin that you want on a curveball or a slider or whatever. And he must have went back to the rosin bag, and I don't know what the story is, but it'll be interesting to hear the outcome.
Yep.
Because I don't think it's over yet.
I don't either. And as he said, it's now a legal matter, and he's holding off on all comments after that. So.
Yeah, because he's going to start again in 5 days, and I don't imagine he's going to change his methods.
No, I agree. We'll talk about the Oakland A's, potentially where they're going now. Where are they getting this money to actually build a stadium? But we'll hit that up. Plus, are we going to see Tiger Woods anytime soon? Dude underwent surgery, which surprised some people. We'll tell you about that as well. Coming up after these news updates. All right, second hour kicking off on this Thursday morning. Appreciate you all tuning in, however, wherever you may be tuning in on this kind of a wet start to your Thursday. Coming up here, we'll get to some sports nuggets of the day. We'll get back to some more baseball and Brewers and Bucks chats coming up here in just a little bit. We are 1 week away from the NFL draft, the first round of the NFL draft. Any of you got your draft crush yet that you would love to absolutely see the Packers go after and maybe target and select? Let us know who that pick is. Hit us up with a text, 715-830-1912. So we'll get to that coming up here in just a sec. Catching up on a couple of texts. G-Man, Captain Fear the Deer, way to go, Brewers. Pack, go get the best player when it's your pick. You will get a turkey at 7 a.m. tomorrow. You can double your 401k on that. I hope so.
What's that? G-Man?
G-Man. I'm out tomorrow doing turkey hunting.
I thought you were going to deliver a turkey here. Holy man, I'm going to be there for turkey tomorrow morning from G-Man.
No, he might have to deliver it because I don't have a whole lot of confidence that I'm going to get one.
Well, this kind of wet weather. It's not, it's going to be wet out in the field, the woods.
So, P.S. Go Seattle Kraken tonight. Plain T, good morning. I am not seeing the benefits of our Jay Crowder pickup so far. I didn't see it in the regular season. I'm definitely not seeing it in the postseason. I'm not sure why Coach Bud insists on putting him in, especially ahead of Carter, who I think could give way more to the team both offensively and defensively. Your thoughts? Yeah, Crowder last night just playing 15 minutes, coming off the bench, 0 for 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, scoring 0 total points so far.
And I've watched him off and on since he became a Buck. I don't think his heart's in it anymore. I really don't. He's not playing like he wants to stay in the league. I just don't get any enthusiasm at all from him.
The last, even in game 1 against Miami, played just 12 minutes, scored only 2 points. How much of it factors in the guy really didn't play, 60% of the season, 70% of the season because he sat out.
Maybe he's out of shape.
Yeah, wanted to find a new place and finally got that done. Trade deadline deal, even though we were talking about before the season started. I mean, how much of that does that factor in, if at all? You'd think he'd be fresh, but if he wasn't doing anything, leading up to getting ready to play.
I just don't see a high energy when he comes in.
Yeah, because I think, when he was brought in, we were mostly looking for defensive presence, right? Kind of a lockdown defender.
And board rebounding.
Yep. Kind of a PJ Tucker type role from a couple of years ago a little bit, but maybe a little bit more of an offensive presence there. But I don't know.
And he's back in Milwaukee where he played college ball. You think he'd probably have friends still around the city. You think he'd be busting it to get a contract to stay in Milwaukee, but it sure doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Yeah, this year averaging 6.9 points per game and 3.8 rebounds so far. And just
maybe he doesn't understand where he fits in. I don't know.
Maybe the Bucks don't understand the rotation
exactly,
too.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's do some sports nuggets of the day brought to you by Ansay Associates. 1912, Fenway Park opened as the home of the Boston Red Sox. 1916, Chicago's Wrigley Field held its first Cubs game with the first National League game at the ballpark. Cubs beat the Cincinnati Reds 7-6 in 11 innings. No word on if Marty Green was actually at that game. We got a couple of Boston Marathon nuggets here. 1953, the Boston Marathon was won by, I'm going to mispronounce some of these names, and I apologize, Kizo Yamada with a record time of 2 hours and 18 minutes and 51 seconds. That was in 1953. 1998, Kenyan runner Moses Tanui won the Boston Marathon for the second time. He also registered the third fastest time so this third fastest time is faster than the 1953 one, 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 34 seconds. So Boston Marathon was just this past Monday. I know one of my kids' teachers from Roosevelt Elementary was actually running in the Boston Marathon. So I
saw a list in the paper of a lot of people from our area. I mean, this Eau Claire, Fall Creek, Chippewa, I mean, all over the area. A lot of people ran in that, so good for them.
Yeah, it's cool to see an event like that, as popular as it is worldwide, yet we have our local people who could qualify for that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm not going to qualify for the Masters.
No.
I'm never going to be able to do anything like that. But for an event like that, to see quite a few local people able to qualify is really cool.
Yeah,
So,
but you did running a marathon like that.
I ain't
You
doing
can
that.
have a little bigger field than you can at the Masters. But,
Yeah.
and and I'm sure the record has to be awfully good weather. I mean, not too hot, not too cold, not too wet, not too windy. That's a lot of things go into setting a record.
Yep, definitely. So, it's hard to believe too. Like, I know I kind of mentioned this the other day, but I just watched the documentary. It's been 10 years since the Boston Marathon bombing already.
Yeah, they made a
10
big
years.
deal about that on TV.
It's hard to believe it's already been 10 years. So, but yeah, if anybody hasn't watched that documentary on Netflix, it's intense. It's really intense. So
It really is. And you wonder about that young man. He and his brother. The brother's dead. He's now in the maximum security prison, I think, out in Colorado. And he's still a young man. I mean, he's never going to get out. What a way to waste your life for something so stupid.
Yep. So, all right. Speaking of a little bit of golf here, Tiger Woods had surgery. He had ankle surgery. No timetable on this, his agent said, but he underwent surgery yesterday to address post-traumatic arthritis in his right ankle that was caused by the injuries that he suffered in his car wreck in 2021. According to his statements, just kind of going through here, it was a subtalar fusion procedure to address arthritis caused by a previous talus fracture and determined the surgery to be successful. He's resting now and will start the recovery process. As far as when Woods could return to playing, Steinberg, his agent, said there is no timetable on this. The subtalar joint, often referred to as the hindfoot, is the articulation between the talus, the main bone of the ankle. I sound like Dr. Crow right now, and the calcaneus, the heel bone. So a fusion is done specifically for the purpose of pain relief. Screws are placed across the joint for compression and stability, and the goal is for the two bones to grow together as one so that there is no longer a joint and that there is zero motion in that foot. Oof.
I was going to say, what does that do for your golf swing?
What the athlete loses in motion, he gains in pain relief, it says here. Oh, man. I mean, this guy, was it last week I mentioned that it was revealed that he had a screw pop through his skin at the PGA last year in that foot? So, I don't know a timeline on this thing, but I mean, fusion surgery and then not being able to move your foot and all. Oh, boy.
I would think, this is only April, but I would think he's done for this year. Shoot for the Masters next year because, that sound, we're not doctors, but it sounds like there's an awful lot going on down there in that foot as far as not only what they did as far as the operation, but what has to go on now for the healing process. And that doesn't sound like it's a short process at all. And all of a sudden, how many times have you heard it? Well, I came back too soon. And then you set yourself back. So, again, Dr. Crow would know more about that than we do, but I would think he's got to hang it up for the rest of this year.
We were talking about Giannis as a guy you got to protect him from himself. And I think, we don't know him personally, but Tiger's probably the same, that competitive juice and trying to go out there. And part of me is wondering too, with the Masters, and he noticed Phil, who's older than him, in his 50s, go out there and finish tied for second. Does that even light more fuel to the fire of Tiger wanting to play? It's like, if Phil can do this, I could still go out there and do that.
Yeah, but what he went through with that car accident.
Right. But don't tell Tiger that.
No, I know it. I know it. He doesn't accept those sorts of things. But, and the competitiveness that he has compared to other golfers is off the charts. I mean, what did he say when, they asked him when he was just a young guy about winning? He said, that's the only reason I come out here. Finish second, I'm the first loser. That's how, a lot of these guys, I had 5 seconds. I had a really good year. Tiger had 5 seconds. He was the first loser 5 times.
Yep.
Just a different mindset of Tiger versus a lot of these other guys. Supreme confidence in his game and his ability. While the rest of these guys know they're good and know if they get hot, they can go on a run. Tiger expected to be on a run every time he picked up a golf club.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was how many years ago? It was Tiger versus the field, and we were all betting Tiger over the field.
And
So.
most of the time we were winning a lot of it too.
Exactly. So, gosh, that's a bummer though. Like I mean, to me, I think the lasting image of that Masters was watching him limp, and it was bad.
Yep.
And then now this on there, and it's like, oh, I can't see.
That's what I say. I just would like to see him come back. You know, his glory days are well behind him. He knows that. We know that. But I would like to see him come back because he does add so much to the enthusiasm and the anticipation of a golf tournament when he's in it. But then when you see him limping on the range, you say, well, this is over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his chances of winning are gone. So hopefully this is going to work. It's going to make him a better golfer again because he can move his lower extremities. But I don't think it's going to be this year.
Maybe he should go to LIV. They only play 3 rounds. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't want that. So, but no, it's I saw that pop up on the news, and I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. So,
and it sounds pretty involved.
Mm-hmm. It does. So, all right. Quickly before we take a break here, the Oakland A's may finally be getting a little bit closer to moving to Las Vegas. The A's have signed a binding agreement to purchase land near the Las Vegas Strip, where they intend to construct a major league ballpark. So the agreement is for a 49-acre site owned by Red Rock Resorts, the parent company of Station Casinos. So we got another Oakland team on the verge of moving to Las Vegas, joining the Raiders over there. No big surprise, but I think a big step to this actually happening now.
Well, the Oakland Alameda Stadium, I've never been in it, but people say it's a junkyard,
mm-hmm.
and it's not fit for major league competition. And the city of Oakland is not one of the richest municipalities in California, and they've got financial problems. And can they be expected to be the one to build that stadium? Or should the major league team do it themselves?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I don't think Oakland is going to be Oakland Athletics very long.
No, and then I mean, you look at Las Vegas over the last few years. I mean, bringing in an NHL team, Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Raiders. Now it's going to be the A's. I don't know if they'll stay with the A's name. Would they change the A's name? I don't know.
I don't know either. But you look at the Raiders.
Look at the A's because like a card, you got an ace. There you go. Boom, done.
Well, kidding. That's true. Well, that's but would they call them the Las Vegas Gamblers? I don't know.
Aces,
the Blackjacks or something like that. Who knows? But, when the Raiders went there, obviously they didn't change their name, and Raider fans are still there with all their get up on. They go from Oakland to Las Vegas for those games, and I'm sure it costs them some money to stay at the casinos or hotels around there and tickets to those games. But it looks to me like it's still a lot of the same fans for Raiders games in Oakland as they have in Las Vegas, because it happened when they went to LA. That was still a lot of Oakland fans. So it doesn't seem like the Oakland fans are giving up their support of the Raiders because they moved. And I don't know. I don't think the following for the Athletics is as strong as the Raider fans, because they're crazy. Yeah. But I don't know whether it make a difference or not.
I'll be curious to see, and maybe it doesn't have any effect on it or not, but I would think with a new stadium and such. But how much would this benefit a team like the A's in terms of payroll? Because we know the A's are one of the lowest payroll teams for the longest time. Billy Bean, we all know about the money ball and all that. But I mean, you move into a new stadium, you got to get fans in there, so I mean, how are you going to get fans in there? You're going to get some just by initially for excitement and such, but you got to win some ball games over there too. And how do you win ball games? And you got to get some players over there.
But you look at Las Vegas, that's tourist city.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get, if you get 5,000 or 10,000 fans of the team, you're going to get probably 5,000, 10,000. Or we're in Vegas. Hey, let's go to a Major League Baseball game. Because, if you're from some places around the country, you're not very close to a team. You go to Vegas, you can go to a ball game.
Mm-hmm. No, one team is, or one league team is left to move over there. The NBA now.
Yeah, and they're talking who that might be. There's a lot of talk.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like
I'll bet Michael Jordan. Well, he's got Charlotte up for sale. I'll bet Michael Jordan would.
Well, you know
jump at
who
the
said?
chance to
You know who
move.
said? Was it last year, a couple years ago, that he wanted to get in on a Vegas team? It was LeBron James.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
because I feel like everybody's talking about Seattle. Well, you're probably going to need two if you want to keep things even, in terms of numbers wise.
Well, they say Seattle. If there's another NBA team, Seattle will be the first one to get it.
Mm-hmm. That's two on the West Coast over there too. So how do you do
Yep.
the dividing there? Maybe a little reshuffling. Hey, move Minnesota to the Eastern Conference then.
Yeah, Minnesota and Milwaukee should be in the same conference, no question.
Mm-hmm.
But who the NBA team that would be to go out there, I don't know. They talked about New Orleans. They've talked about Charlotte, and I think Michael Jordan would probably be amenable
Mm-hmm.
to moving that team out there because it would increase the value of that franchise remarkably. And let's face it, there's a lot of money out in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And he can bring on some partners and become that much
Well,
more
I will
wealthy.
just say, though, we know Jordan's gambling history. Maybe that's not the best way to be out there in Vegas either.
No, that's for sure.
With his gambling habits, put it proper way.
Yeah, there are some that have some of those. That's what they say. Live
You hear
safe,
some of
Phil
those
Mickelson.
stories
Yeah.
with Jordan and that. Holy
Oh,
moly, man!
I know it. Bet $1,000 on which shoe the guy's going to tie first. Type of thing.
He was
crazy.
If you watch that Last Dance documentary, they're like throwing quarters against the wall, like in between, like it was like in the locker room.
Oh, he'd gamble on anything.
It was like just this stupid game of like who gets it closer to the wall or something with a quarter.
I played that.
That's an actual thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my god, I thought they just made something up on the spot because they were bored or whatever.
You got to get out more.
Apparently, you guys need to get out more if you're doing those type of games.
Well, I mean, that's something that's been going on forever.
I've never, when I saw that, I'm like, what the heck is that? Just throwing a quarter up against the wall?
Sure.
So you just literally just the closest to the wall or what?
Yep.
I think you guys need to get out more and try to find something more entertaining than that. So, but
well, it depends on, it's not the only thing if you're on an airplane, it's the only thing you're doing pretty much. But, if you're doing other things, it's a game you're doing while you're drinking or snacking or watching a ball game. Yeah, that's something I've done before.
Yeah, and that was the first I ever saw that. So, but yeah, that dude would bet on anything, I think, at this point. So, still would. Yeah, still would bet on anything.
And he doesn't bet nickels and dimes.
No. No. So, all right. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. Kate, we are looking for your draft crushes. Do you have a draft crush for the Packers or whoever your favorite team is? You can hit us up with a text at 715-830-1912. If you got any of those, now that we are 1 week away from the first round, we're looking for a couple more people to participate in our listener draft. If you want to hit us up, let me know. Hit me up with a text, 715-830-1912. We'll get back to some more hoops talk and some baseball talk as well. But we'll take a quick break, and then we got receiver defer coming up here in just a little bit. We'll be back after these quick words. 1 week from today is the first round of the NFL draft. We're going to be hanging out over at Wahlburgers for just a little bit there, just kind of a casual get together. If you want to watch a little bit of the draft with us, so we'll get that going next Thursday, maybe up until Green Bay makes a selection at whenever that selection may be in the first round, whether they move back or whatever have you at this point. So, but yeah, we'll get that going around. I'll probably be there around 6 p.m. Next Thursday. So, got nothing going on. You want to hang out for a little bit? We'll be over there having a couple cold ones and such. So, we'll see you then. So,
has there ever been coming up on a draft where a quarterback or the reputation and talent of Aaron Rodgers still don't know his fate for the season?
Yeah, right. And now you got a lot of conspiracy theories going on out there and all that stuff. But we were talking about it the other day. There was allegedly, and I say this allegedly, and I'm not trying to diss the guy, but it's like a radio personality or a media personality in New York was saying that Mark Murphy apparently told Goody, and I wish I would have known this maybe before the tailgate tour. I don't know if I would have asked this, but apparently Goody was ready to make the trade a couple weeks ago, but Murphy put the kibosh on it because he wanted more in return, to kind of sum it up. And the quote is like, "Do you like your job? Because I like my job," sort of thing. And I'm like, well, Murphy's got to retire in a couple of years, so I don't know if he's in danger of losing his job at this point. But
I heard you talking about that the other day, and it just brought to mind something we talked about. If you don't think that life will be different in New York than it is in Green Bay, referring to the media, you got another guest coming.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers, because this is, as you said, this was from some media person in New York. Is it true or not? But it got traction in other parts of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to continue to be that way. And did it happen or not that Murphy went to Gutekunst and told him that? I don't know. We don't know. It hasn't been confirmed. It hasn't been talked about a lot. But it stuck in my mind right then. It just, there we go again.
Mm-hmm.
The New York media is so prevalent and so dominant in activities that go on out there. It's not like Green Bay, where all these things are, nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this guy knows or just made it up.
Yeah.
But there's so much media in New York, it almost seems like to get a story, sometimes they have to make it up. And does it create a story then?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But these are things that, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to realize he's going to have to deal with. I mean, he can't get away with not saying anything to anybody and then going on a radio blog show and saying what he says and doesn't expect any feedback. He does that. The New York media is crucifying him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard a whole lot from this week. I know Packers started their off-season program. I mean, we haven't had any media availability or anything like that. The Packers have, posted some videos and pictures of the guys working out and such, but nobody's really talking. Obviously, I'm sure the scouting staff and Goody are getting ready for next week, with the draft and such there too. But, the one player who obviously didn't show up was 12. I know there were some people say, what if he does show up? I think we all knew he wasn't going to show up.
No,
but,
he's not going to show up. He's done in Green Bay. I mean,
maybe to clean out his house, but, or he'll hire people.
Maybe he's done completely. I just can't believe he'd retire, but he's not, I think when he started going on the Pat McAfee show, I think he lost so much credibility in the eyes of so many people because Pat McAfee, I mean, let's face it, Aaron Rodgers has made Pat McAfee a lot of money. He's on now these national panels that before a game, he'll sit there and nobody knew Pat McAfee before that. Aaron Rodgers made him. And Aaron Rodgers has got to realize that Pat McAfee is not the New York media. Yeah. I don't know if Pat McAfee ever asked him a tough question, just let him kind of express himself, talk about what he wants to talk about, but never asked him real questions.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's to the point, I kind of threw this out there, I think it might have been on Tuesday or such, but I think it might have been Monday when Justice was kind of talking about it too. Like Aaron, obviously, great player on the field and such. And I know a lot of people are expecting Green Bay to be a down team this year and such, but, because of Aaron. But at the same time, I'm curious to see what the mood is like in the locker room because, I mean, most of us probably have that friend that's like, love you, man, but you know what? You're annoying the crap out of me. I need a break from you or something like that. But I'm not saying that's how people kind of view or the locker room teammates kind of view Aaron, but I almost feel like, is there that possibility that, okay, he's out, he's gone. We know we got more responsibility, but that GOAT is out of there. Maybe it's a little bit more relaxed and let's have a little, might be a down year, but maybe there's a more of a coming together as a team. Like Aaron can't bail out people and all that sort of stuff. I mean, kind of like '08 when Aaron came in a little bit.
And there's another example of those are things we don't know. It's the Green Bay Packer locker room, the Green Bay media. You can bet that with all the media in Green Bay, they're going to find players that are going to talk about what's going on in the locker room. What if Aaron Rodgers ends up as a Jet, which I do expect will happen, what somebody's going to talk about what he's like in the locker room. And is he a team builder? Does he pick a few guys as his buddies and not really diss the other guys, but not really trying to get close to the other guys? I don't know what he was really like in the locker room, but we'll find out. We'll have a better chance of finding out what he's like in the locker room if he goes to New York than if he'd stay in Green Bay, just because of the media numbers and the media intensity. These guys in New York, they take no prisoners. They're not coddling to try and, I want Aaron Rodgers to be my buddy. They don't care. They're there to do their job and do the story. And so, they'll ask questions that the Green Bay media wouldn't ask.
I always kind of said too, it's, during football season, it's a little bit easy for job wise. It's easier when the Packers lose because there's like more people wanting to vent about it and talk about it and try to figure that out. Can you imagine if the Jets have a poor year next year with Aaron Rodgers on there? Great. Holy moly. The radio and the shows, they've got content up the butt.
Yeah, and depending on what they give up.
Yeah.
Because that'll be an ongoing story too. If Aaron Rodgers goes there and they give up their 13th pick and they win, no problem. But if he goes there and they give up their 13th pick and whatever else they give up, then they're going to take Woody Johnson over the coals and the rest of them over the coals as well. It's an ongoing story, but I just think when Aaron Rodgers started going on Pat McAfee and just was kind of given an open mic with no repercussions as far as answering what you're talking about. I just that's when I started to lose faith in Aaron Rodgers, when he started doing that, or losing, I guess, I still like Aaron Rodgers, but I've got a little different opinion of him now than I did, 3, 4, 5 years ago. He's supremely talented, but
and I wonder how much
he's goofy.
And I wonder how much that wore thin on the locker room with the teammates too. And I could see from an organizational standpoint, that would wear thin very, very quickly because you're kind of on pins and needles. What is he going to say this week? Is he going to make a passive-aggressive comment? Is he going to make a comment that, what was he referring to then? Because then the next day he's talking to the local media. So then, the PR department or whatever has got to get ready for that, for any potential follow-up questions or something like that. Or Matt LaFleur's got to answer for it because he's got a presser every single day during the season. And he's got to try to answer for something. I think, from an organizational standpoint, they probably, my guess, would have gotten more thin. It's a little bit different, though. Like, I know Tom Brady had his own thing on Sirius. A little different, though, when you're winning games and winning championships, and you can kind of put up with that, right? Or you can have your guy go out there and have his own radio show or podcast or whatever have you. If you're winning, nobody cares. If you're winning championships, nobody cares. But if you're not, or you're falling short all the time, it's going to be exposed more.
Yeah, that's why a few years ago when they started off, lost a couple of games, and Aaron Rodgers said, relax. And all of a sudden, they won 10 or 11 in a row or whatever it was. It was a spectacular season they ended up having. And that was it. But the last few years, it's just been a little more involved, and his comments have been a little more, what are you talking about? Type of reaction. And so it's a different atmosphere, and it's going to be interesting going forward, watching how he performs in New York, because I think he's going to end up there. I'd be shocked if he wouldn't. Whether they'll get it done by the draft or not, I don't know. It doesn't look like New York wants to give up the 13th pick, but how they're going to get it done, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And our Packer fans going to get to the point of saying, just get rid of him. We don't care. That's not the attitude to have.
Right.
You don't have a valuable commodity like that and take the attitude of, we just want to get rid of him. That's, I'm sure, what the Jets and Jet fans are hoping.
Right.
But boy, I'll tell you what, Murphy, if he went to Gutekunst and told him that, Murphy's not of the attitude that we're just going to let him go to get rid of him. Mm-hmm. He's too valuable of a commodity. We've got to get something of value in return.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And right now, I don't think the Jets are in a hurry to make a deal, because the longer they wait, the more they get in the draft, they hold on to that 13th pick.
Yeah,
they're not in a rush to get this done before the draft.
At this point, it seems to me that they're going to keep the 13th pick, because I would think if they wanted Rodgers that bad, they'll give up that 13th, but they don't seem to want to give up that 13th. So they want the best of both worlds. And I hope the Packers don't give in, because Rodgers, no matter what you think of him, and I still think he's a great talent, you can't just give him away.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree with that. I don't want them to get rid of him just to get rid of him to move on from the drama or such. I use this analogy. It's probably stupid, but it's like, okay, you bought a house. You still have another house. Obviously, you're not going to sell that other house for $1 just to get rid of it, right? You're going to try to get the best money from it, the best deal possible. We all try to do that. We all try to get the best deal possible on stuff.
Absolutely, and that's what the Packers do. They can't throw in the towel on Aaron Rodgers just to get rid of him, just to say that Jordan Love is going to be our quarterback. That's not a good way to do it. And I don't. And every day goes by, I'm more confident they're holding out for the value that Rodgers is worth.
Mm-hmm. And I know, probably when it gets to draft night and nothing is done, nothing's completed, a trade isn't done or whatever, there's probably going to be a good majority of Packers fans who are going to be upset with the team. Let's just face it. They're probably going to be like, well, we didn't get anything this year or anything like that. Or if nothing happens on Friday with one of their second rounders or both second rounders, there'll be disappointed Packer fans, I'm sure, but then it's just kind of like, okay, let's see what they get for 2024 at that point. But I personally, to me, I know some people are saying, well, it could happen on draft night. And there was like a scenario where, well, if the board plays out how these teams like it, then there could be like a swap of their first rounders. And obviously you add on a little bit more. And I'm like, but that's such a tricky situation too, just because you got scenario one, if the board's playing out the way they like it, they could go this way. Then if it doesn't, you go to scenario two. But what if it plays out for one team, but it's not playing out for the other? You know what I mean? It's like, it's got to work out for both at that point. We all know the Jets probably were going to draft an offensive lineman. They need an offense. Everybody in the world probably knows that. Everybody doing a mock draft is probably going to do that. Packers have like 5 or 6 different players positions they could go to at this point.
Oh, there's no question about that. And I think the Jets value an offensive lineman to the point of not giving up that 13th pick. Mm-hmm. And if the Packers won't take some other compensation, it's going to be dicey getting Rodgers to the Jets.
So Packers essence, if that's a thing that's true or something like that, I guess the best thing for the Green Bay essence is that a bunch of teams draft a bunch of tackles early so that there's nobody there for the Jets to select.
I don't know how many quality tackles are in this draft.
I mean, there's a few good ones up there. There should be one available at 13, but now you got this whole CJ Stroud thing or the Texans aren't even going to draft a quarterback at second overall now. That's the latest out there, is that they're not going to draft a quarterback second overall. And that maybe CJ Stroud starts to fall a little bit here. So I don't know. But everybody who thought that, it was a lock for the Texans to get a quarterback, pump the brakes right now. Believe it when I see it. But
I was going to say, Texans don't know what they need to draft. They're in a little bit of a confusing state right now.
Yeah, because there's the thought, D'Amico Ryan's coming over from the 49ers. He wants to build up that defense. And then the other part of that too is like, if that is true, do they look at what the 49ers did last year with the last pick in the draft with Brock Purdy be like, let's just build up that defense and build it in different ways, kind of like how the 49ers did. And we don't have to – if they're not sold on a quarterback, I guess at number 2, I mean, don't get him if you're not sold on him. But
and that another story I heard, and I'm sure you've heard it, obviously, but, the 49ers would be in a deal to get Aaron Rodgers.
yeah, they apparently offered multiple third-round picks. And
I'd laugh. What are you talking about? Multiple third-round picks. No, we want somebody off your active defense. Plus, you're not going to give him away. Why would you give him away? That's what you'd be doing to the 49ers for assorted third-round draft choices. I mean, if I'm Gutekunst or Murphy, I'd say thanks for the call, but when you've got something substantive, call back.
Mm-hmm.
That's a joke.
There was a report yesterday, too, that teams have been calling the 49ers about Trey Lance. What if one of those is the Texans? Texans get Trey Lance, their quarterback, then they can do whatever they want with they ain't going to get a first-round pick for Trey Lance.
No.
It's not going to happen. So
no, they've found that Trey Lance came in and did all right, but then he got hurt, and boy, his stock has fallen.
Mm-hmm. Big time. So, all right, let's take a break, and we'll finish up the second hour with a little receive or defer. Then coming up at 8:30, Jake's going to hop on. So if you got any questions, turkey season beginning yesterday, this week for period A. So if you got any questions for that, send them on over, or anything hunting, fishing related. Summer projects are coming up, so what's on your to-do list this year? Well, if we had any say in your to-do list, it would be time to update that flooring of yours. Maybe a new carpet in the bedroom, replacing your kitchen floor with some luxury vinyl planks, or some nice tile in the bathroom. I'm just saying, chances are that you have a room in your home that could use a good floor update. So why not make it easier on yourself with this project and visit my friends at Carpet City Flooring Center? I mean, my own grandma has used them twice in the past year to replace some flooring in her home. So if grandma likes them and trusts them, you can too. And it's because of their customer service, top-notch customer service from when you walk into the store to the install team. Add in the best selection and prices, and you got yourself a home run. So take a look at that to-do list this year and move up replacing that floor in your home. Then head on over to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Chat with the awesome team there to find that perfect floor for your home and your budget. All right, let's do some. Might have to extend receiver defer here, but we'll get to it. You got one there, big boy intern? All right, let's you get the honors.
All right, well, we go to the draft. The Packers receiver defer. The Packers need to draft the best player available, not for a specific position in their first pick.
I'll receive that.
Yeah, because I was just thinking, maybe running back would be the only position that you wouldn't that you don't think you need to pick the first one. I mean, you look at the defense, the front seven, the back four, the offensive line, receiver core. Best player available is going to find a spot on the field for this team outside of running back.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Or maybe quarterback initially right away.
Yeah, because I think, they're going to give the job to Jordan Lamb. I mean, let's face it, he's going to be the guy that's going to start the season. So a quarterback is going to be sitting on the bench. I know there's discussion of that, but I don't think that's going to happen with the first pick.
No. That's why I was adding quarterback to running back there too. So, no, I'd receive that. Absolutely. Yeah, anymore? Or was that the only one that you had on there?
Let's go across the river. The Vikings will move up to draft a quarterback.
I'll defer that. I'll defer.
You don't think they will?
I think if there's one there while they're picking, then yes, they'll grab it, but I don't think they'll move up.
You think they'll go to defense first?
Yeah, they need some help over there.
Yeah.
Or maybe another wide out now that Adam Thielen isn't there.
Yeah, I thought, has he landed yet?
Yeah, he's with the Panthers.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he signed fairly quickly. So, yeah, he's over there in Carolina.
I know San Diego is excited to have Kendricks as a linebacker. I'm excited to have him out of the division because he is a good player.
The Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, and I thought I was surprised that they let him go. I don't know how much of a contract he was seeking, but boy, oh boy, good player to me.
Did you have another one? Otherwise, I got one right here.
That'll do it.
Okay, so this was from yesterday. They've already got college football here. How about this? The best college football playoff odds according to ESPN's Football Power Index. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State 1, weird. Georgia 2, weird. Alabama 3, weird. And then Texas 4, no big surprise. Wisconsin shows up at 17, though. They're in the top 20. Receiver defer. You like that for this first year under Luke Fickell. 17th, best odds.
I'm receiving it because I think he's got enough transfers in, and I think he's going to throw enough things at the Big Ten that maybe they're not familiar with coming out of Wisconsin. I think the running game is going to be there, but I think there's going to be enough of a passing offense that's going to make Braylon Allen that much better.
They are I'm just double checking, 4th highest Big Ten team. They're obviously Ohio State. We mentioned Michigan. Penn State comes in at 11, and then Wisconsin at 17. So why not? I think this is going to be a fun team to watch this year. I really do. I think the energy, the enthusiasm is there. The talent is there now, too, with all the transfer guys coming in. Let's do it. And I like their schedule. I think it's a good schedule for Wisconsin.
I haven't seen the schedule.
I'll bring it up here for you. But I like the schedule in terms of racking up some wins.
I know they have to go to Washington State this year. Washington State came in last year and beat the Badgers, and that was, at the time, you didn't think so. You thought, well, it was just an off day. But at the time, it
it's
told us, look out.
Yep. Buffalo comes here to open up things on September 2nd. then at Washington State. Georgia Southern comes here. Then the Big Ten portion starts. Purdue, Rutgers, Iowa comes to Wisconsin. Wisconsin visits Illinois. Ohio State comes to Wisconsin. Indiana, Northwestern, Nebraska, Minnesota. So no Michigan, no Penn State, no Michigan State, or any of those teams.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice schedule, and hopefully they can
Take
make
advantage of
it
it.
work.
Yep. I'm liking this. So I'm really excited. Did you get your season tickets? Order them up? Did they send anything out for you?
Yeah,
Or?
it's about that time to do it, I guess.
Oh yeah,
Or
better
I'll get them, but
hop on that train before.
yeah, oh yeah.
I gotta imagine, even though it's gonna be like Buffalo, that place is gonna be rocking. I mean, for their spring ball practice, I think what did I see 20,000's already picked up.
Oh, really?
Vouchers or tickets for that spring practice that's open to the public.
The spring game, that's got to be coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement for this team. So speaking of Badgers, I know I mentioned the first hour, but since we're here again, remind Noah Reynolds, one of the transfer guards that Greg Gard got in the transfer portal, is already decommitted to Wisconsin after about a week or so. So he tweeted out yesterday that after talking to his family and friends, he has decided to reopen his commitment. So I guess on one hand, Wisconsin doesn't have to try to figure out where they're going to get the other scholarship. But on the other hand, it's kind of disappointing because I was really excited to see Noah Reynolds and this other kid from St. John's coming over here too. So
yeah, Reynolds from Illinois, close to home. I don't know, but
yep.
where he's going to end up, but why he changed his mind, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, he tweeted that out last night in case you all missed it. So. All right. Receive or defer. The Brewers, now that they're going to be at home to finish up the end of April, they will win every single series. They got Boston, Detroit, and the Angels. Not sweep, but just at least take 2 out of 3. They're all 3-game series. Think they'll win every single one?
I can go for that. I mean, based on the way they've been playing, thing is, we haven't had any big droughts. They haven't gone 2 or 3 games where they've only scored, 1 run or 2 runs over 3 games. They've had,
the games they've been shut out, they've bounced back.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's a real possibility because you put runs on the board, obviously you can win. I mean, don't take a rocket scientist to say that, but they can put runs on the board, and their pitching has been good enough. The bullpen has been outstanding. I think they got a real shot at it.
All right. Flying on by here on this Thursday morning. We got a quick break. Then coming up after the news updates. Still Thirsty Thursday. If you want to give a shout out to anybody, send those babies on over. Bottom of the hour, we'll talk with Jake. If you got any hunting, fishing questions or anything like that, now is the time to text those babies on over. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, final hour on this Thursday morning. Hopefully, you're all off to a fantastic start. Don't forget, if you are having any luck out there with the turkey hunting, send those pictures on over so we can put them up on our outdoors page on our website. Thanks to those of you who've already sent some over. We had the youth one this past weekend. Now, period A beginning started off yesterday. So, if you have any luck, make sure you send those beauties on over so we can share it for the rest of us out there too, and leave one for me, please. Hopefully, I don't know. My confidence is low.
Really,
Really low.
That means you'll get one.
I hope so. But
have you been up to check the land? And
I've got the cameras up there and such, but I mean it's not a whole lot, and they got pounded with that snow. I mean it's north of Stanley and such, so like 23 inches. So, but yeah, yeah, it's tough. So it's tough. We'll see. But anyways, well, better out there than working, right?
Absolutely.
Kind of like golf, even though I haven't been able to golf yet this year.
Bad day hunting's better than a good day in the office, they say.
Yep. So, all right, you want to do a little third city? You want to give a shout out to anybody? You got you want to give your tip of the cap or shout it out to anybody?
Tip of the cap to the Brewers.
Yeah.
I just keep it up. It's been fun to watch them, and and the tip of cap of the Bucks winning last night without Giannis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good ones. I was going to do mine to the Bucks as well. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of those guys or one of those teams there at this point. So, but yeah, tip of the cap or Thirsty Thursday shout out to those two teams that have been a lot of fun to watch right now, and hopefully the Brewers can keep it up, and yeah, hopefully the Bucks can get by.
And a tip of the cap to Mark Murphy for telling Gutekunst
allegedly
telling Gutekunst, do you like your job? Don't trade Rodgers just to get something in exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So a tip of the cap for Mark Murphy.
Yep.
Allegedly.
So, all right. So we got Bucks will be back in action coming up on Saturday. So Game 3 moving over to Miami, but the rest of the NBA playoffs will continue starting Saturday. We had Memphis winning last night. Here's the thing, though. Memphis, like Dylan Brooks, already trash talking to LeBron James. It's like
stupid.
Thank you. Like, why poke the bear? Yeah, great game. You got a victory. You tied it up. Don't poke the bear, though. Just stop. Stop. I mean, come on. I'm expecting LeBron now to dominate Game 3.
Yeah, I expect it too.
He's going to go out there and just.
What's been your impression of the officiating in these playoffs? I know they always say they officiate differently in the playoffs and let it go, but I've watched a couple of games. LA and Memphis been one, and even Timberwolves in Denver. It's changed some of the game. I mean, they're out in front. These guys get away with this shooting a 3-point and kicking their legs out and getting a foul called, and they're not supposed to do that, but it's still happening. Then under the basket, I mean, it's like rugby under there, and they don't call fouls. And it's I'm not enjoying some of that officiating. I agree, let them play a little bit. But the ticky-tack fouls they call on guys driving the lane, and they're great actors, and I don't know. I just I wouldn't want to be an official in that game because I don't know what would be a foul and what would not be a foul.
Yeah,
I don't envy the officials because obviously they're being told to officiate different in the playoffs than they do in the regular season. Let them play so the stars are on the floor. But boy, it's hard to watch at times.
No, I agree. I would agree with that. So, I mean, we're only a couple games in, but has anything kind of stood out to you with these NBA playoffs besides that, like team-wise? Like, are you surprised maybe Sacramento is up 2-0?
I was just going to say Sacramento is a team that surprises me. I mean, good for them. They've been down for so long, and I've had enough of Draymond Green.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness, I've watched the Warriors and enjoyed the Warriors and Thompson and Steph Curry and Wiggins and Poole, but get me away from Draymond Green. I don't know where he's going to go next. I think his contract is up this year, and they say, well, he's going to go to the Lakers. Good, go to the Lakers. Well, I mean, he is I don't like the Warriors anymore because of Draymond Green. And I've always enjoyed watching them play because, Steph Curry does things that the average person, as great as all these guys are, they can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one that can do what he does. But Draymond Green is a pain in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's not fun to watch.
Is he this generation's or this era's Dennis Rodman, or do you think he's a little bit worse?
Worse.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Rodman, Dennis Rodman was an oddball. I mean, everybody knew that. He'd go out and, like he did, he went to Vegas to wrestle in that one playoff time, and nobody knew where he was. Well, he showed up on TV wrestling with WWE or WWF, whatever it was back then. And, well, that's just what I had my time off. That's what I went and did. I mean, he was, I shouldn't say harmless, but he was, he was on AM when everybody else was on FM type of thing. And Draymond Green is just, I don't know. He's not fun.
Does it, because Draymond does a lot of talking where Dennis really didn't do a whole lot of talking, right? So like Draymond's more of the talking, and, maybe that's what kind of rubs people a little bit differently. Because, Dennis, I mean, he would be in scuffles with Karl Malone or something like that, or he'd be on the free throw line staring at somebody or something like that. But, yeah.
He was kind of harmless. I mean, great rebounder, great defender, and every once in a while he'd score 10 points, and that was a career.
Didn't care about scoring, which was awesome.
Not at all. And I don't know what Draymond cares about. I mean, his act is getting a little old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm there with you. And I know a lot of people saying he shouldn't have been suspended for what he did. A lot of people have been saying he shouldn't, but there's probably I got to imagine precedent followed it, right? I mean, the history factored into it.
I think it would have been just a regular guy that did that. He wouldn't have got suspended. But Draymond has a history of this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is getting old now, Draymond. Everybody knows your act. You're not going to get away with it anymore, and they didn't let him get away with it. Fair or not, equal treatment or not, it's because of who he is and what he's done in the past, his reputation. As they say, your reputation precedes you. And I think in this case, that's a pretty accurate statement.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. So Minnesota dropping their game last night, 122-113. But that's, one going up against the 1 seed with Denver. But Minnesota's still kind of been disappointing this year. I mean, they make the Rudy Gobert trade, send all those picks over to get him. Yeah. We thought made a jump last year, made that leap. You got Karl-Anthony Towns, you got Anthony Edwards. Edwards dropped 41 points last night.
But is it Rudy Gobert's fault, or has Karl-Anthony Towns disappointed this year as far as not only in his playing time, but his playing quality? I think a lot of it has to be put on Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't think he's given them what they thought they were going to get when they got Rudy Gobert and got him away from the basket so he could do more things. I don't think he's given them what they thought they were going to get.
Yeah,
great player, but I just don't think that he's been the guy that they thought they were going to have.
Yeah, could be, possibly. So, all right. Before we talk to Jake, back to some more baseball chat here. Brewers, obviously, we talked about them with their come from behind victory. What is it? Now they've got ERA wise here, intern. I'll ask you this: ERA wise, best bullpen in baseball right now.
Yeah, I saw that. That's outstanding.
What is the biggest surprise so far to you with this Brewers team? Almost 20 games in. They're at 19 games in right now. Is it that bullpen?
No.
Still the offense for you?
Still the offense for me. Still the offense. I just think this offense has surprised me to no end as far as being able to hit and score runs, and because I expected a good pitching staff. I think we all
starting pitching staff, right?
Well, yeah, and
we knew Devin Williams, but then
and there were some other question marks before you get to Devin Williams, but I think those guys have performed, and you kind of expected that they would, not to this extent, to be the top bullpen in Major League Baseball right now. But you're only 20 games into the season too. The offense is what's amazed me. It's not only produce, but they've been fun to watch how they produce. It's not get a guy on, hit a home run. It's what we talked about Mitchell earlier. He laid down a bunt. He saw where the defense was. Baseball player. He laid down the bunt. He got on, worked himself around, scored on a sacrifice fly.
Mm-hmm.
That was their rally. And that's not something they've done in years past.
I would agree with Craig Counsell when he kind of summed up their West Coast trip. By the way, first series sweep in Seattle since 1989.
Wow.
Since 1989. So, but Craig Counsell said, we played 3 good baseball teams and we played well. I don't know if you could pick one guy on the trip. That's what makes it a great trip. And I would agree with that last part. I don't think you can pick just one guy or even 2 guys. It's been different guys kind of stepping up at different moments in this West Coast swing here for the Brewers.
And the thing that's got me kind of excited is one of those guys is Christian Yelich. He had some pretty good moments on that West Coast trip, not from start to finish, but good moments off and on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's encouraging going forward.
Here's an interesting nugget too. Brian Anderson talked about this, and you can read this article on Brewers.com. But Brian Anderson said that one of the ways that the coaches and Craig Counsell tried to build clubhouse camaraderie in spring training was that Counsell had guys meet with different guys on the team, maybe a guy they wouldn't talk to normally, go have lunch with them, talk to them, and get to know them. And when Eric Lauer was asked about this, he smiled and said, "You mean our dates?" But I mean, you look at it, they did bring in a lot of new guys this year, whether it was offensive guys or the rookies, the bullpen. Brian Anderson, his was with Gus Varland, the Rule 5 reliever. But as it said here too, this, if it doesn't work, it's perceived as phony or forced, but guys apparently bought into it right away, getting to know each other right away.
Yeah. So, I mean, you get spring training, get a big grill, have a big cookout, and, work around a picnic table and have brats and have steaks and have a few beers out there and, have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Not all work.
Yeah. Eric Lauer said his sidekick was catcher Victor Caratini. They picked up enough chicken at the Raising Cane's to share with the athletic training staff. We all sat around a table and ate, talked, and hung out. It was to put guys who normally wouldn't talk too much or just to learn something new about a teammate.
Yeah.
Something small like that. So
good move. It's working out, paying dividends.
I think, we talk about these players and, these guys stepping up and all that. But I mean, the one guy that we're not really giving a lot of credit to or talking a whole lot about is Craig Counsell. I mean, does he deserve?
He likes it that way.
Mm-hmm. But does he deserve a lot of this credit? I think he deserves a lot of this credit here too. Putting him in a position to be 13-5 or 14-5, excuse me. I think he got to give your tip of the cap to him as well.
Oh, anytime your team is doing well, you have to credit the people in charge. It's just, and they take the blame when they don't do well.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, he's got these guys doing what they need to do to win. I think these guys, he's made them feel comfortable. I think the last few years, I think the Brewers have been such a scripted program. And now whether he's changing his attitude and let him be more, can't let him completely freelance, but I think he's given them an opportunity to, you're baseball players.
Mm-hmm.
You get up there, you see what you have to do, hit the ball to the left or the opposite field or, take a couple of pitches, whatever the case may be. I think he's letting them freelance a little more, not only at bat, but on the bases and things like that. And, he's getting the feel for this team. And so far that feel's been pretty good.
Yeah. And, you kind of go back to it even before the season started. You think about it, was there still a Josh Hader hangover mindset, heading into spring training and the whole Corbin Burns issue that we found out in arbitration that caused some like, what the heck is going on? Then you got the talk, is this Craig Counsell's final year? I mean, there was a lot of chatter, stuff kind of going on outside of actually playing the game. I think you got to give credit to Craig Counsell to kind of block out all that noise or keep the focus on the proper thing, and that's winning ball games right now.
Yeah, and on the players themselves. I mean, all these guys know that it's a business. Corbin Burns, Woodruff, Yelich, And every player, you want to make as much money as you can. This is your craft. This is your career, and it only lasts so long. And so, are the Brewers trying to, you know, screw Corbin Burns, so to speak, to put it bluntly, as far as it can? No, they got a business to run. They don't have a business option like, if you're running a gamble store or if you're running Macy's, like New York versus Milwaukee as far as market size is concerned. And they've got more money to play with in New York than they do in Milwaukee. And I think Milwaukee, although, you question Adenazio's spending practices, but I think they're going to do what they can to keep him here. Is it going to be enough? My gut instinct says probably not.
Counsel, you mean?
No, Burns.
Oh, Burns, yeah, okay.
When a contract comes up. No, Counsel, I think he's a Milwaukee kid, and, he's lives in Milwaukee, always has, and I think he's indoctrinated into Milwaukee. I don't think he's going anyplace.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these other guys, it's not like Milwaukee's trying to bleed them dry. With Milwaukee, you living in Milwaukee and living in New York or living in Los Angeles, completely different. You get football players that live in Green Bay, and then all of a sudden they go free agency to a place like New York. Well, I got news for you. That $400,000 house you bought in Green Bay, that's not going to be about $2 or $3 million if you're going to buy apartment or a condo or whatever in New York. It's just a completely different lifestyle. So it's not dollar for dollar. And I think the Brewers are trying to give these guys as much as they can without breaking the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough. I mean, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Kansas City, there are a lot of these franchises that, that struggle to put a winning team on the field. And the Brewers have put a winning team on the field an awful lot. I think they made a major mistake last year. It's been talked about a whole lot. The Hader trade was a major mistake when they made it because it took them out of the playoffs. One game cost them the playoffs. Would Hader make that difference? The attitude in the clubhouse? I think so. I think they'd have been in the playoffs if they hadn't traded Hader. That was a major mistake. But for the most part, they're trying to put a winning team on the field and give the fans something to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nope. I agree. I agree. We were talking a little bit about Keston Hiura earlier, right? Because he's been tattooing it down in AAA right now. MLB.com has an article up, one potential impact call-up for each team. Kind of a weird, we were 19, 20 games in here, but, it's kind of fun to talk about here a little bit. It's not Keston. They got Sal Frelick, the outfielder for the Brewers, in case anybody's wondering. And some people are wondering, too, with Garrett Mitchell being out for a little bit here, why Sal Frelick, the number 2 Brewers prospect, he's an outfielder, why he wasn't called up. Well, he also just got a thumb injury, so he's not playing right now. So won't see him at anytime soon. But, with the way these youngsters are playing, I'm sure that's going to maybe kind of increase some anticipation to want to see guys like Sal Frelick or Jackson Chourio, who everybody I think is ready to dawn as the next savior for the Brewers, because the guy is still lighting it up at, I think, Double-A right now. But I think for a lot of people, it can't get here any quicker. Right now, they're waiting for him to kind of come up here. Kid's exciting, but let's also be patient.
Yeah, exactly. And for Keston Hiura, I'm sure he's probably frustrated, thinking, well, I could be the right-handed bat playing first base, but Luke Voigt's playing very well when he plays, when they sit Rowdy Tellez. So there's not really a spot for him right now.
No, 14-5, you really don't have to change anything unless it's injury related at this point. There's not really a whole lot that you have to mess with unless it is injuries, and you got to bring somebody up just because you have to.
And injuries are going to happen. You got to be extremely lucky to go through a season without, a key player down for a period of time, 4 weeks, a month and a half, something like that. So keep our fingers crossed. It hasn't happened yet, but the Brewers are in a good spot. Coming home, playing in that stadium where they can, you can play the game. That's what I like about that stadium, because you play in this kind of weather, even if it's not raining, but you go outside today with, 45 degrees, the wind blowing, it being cloudy. you can't get comfortable playing baseball. Football, it's a completely different story, but you can, and soccer. But baseball, where you need your hands so much, you just can't get comfortable and it affects your performance. There's no question in my mind.
Brewers with the off day today, but looking ahead, they've got Peralta going on the mound on Friday. Wade Miley, who has been a very nice surprise so far this year too for the Brewers, looking like the Wade Miley that when he is healthy, he's a pretty darn good pitcher. And then Corbin Burns still slated to start that game on Sunday. So, you look at those pitching matchups, and you got your three guys out there who, Freddie Peralta was off to a good start. I know he had a hiccup this past weekend. Corbin Burns is pitching better now. And then Wade Miley, how well he has pitched so far this year. I mean, if you were to power rank the starting pitchers right now for the Brewers in power rank, you do them every week or so, every few days. Is Wade Miley like number one right now?
I was just going to say, are you going to say Wade Miley is the top one? But you can't argue with it.
He's doing really well. Hopefully he stays healthy and continues to do that. That's kind of been his hiccup the last couple of years, just staying healthy.
And one guy I've never had a lot of confidence in has been Eric Lauer, but he's proven to be efficient, if not spectacular.
Yeah.
Nice game he pitched yesterday. And if he can keep doing that, he's pitching that late into the game. That was a big boost for the Brewers yesterday.
Huge boost for them, no doubt. So, and then, as well as these guys are continuing to go out there and throw it, they can be a little bit more cautious with the return of Brandon Woodruff and not try to rush it back whenever he is ready to come back, which, I mean, if we're using his timeline that he said the other day, like, hey, if this would have happened in the All-Star break, I'd probably be done for the year. Okay, well, does that mean you won't be back till around July if you kind of use the same time frame from now? I mean, I don't know.
What is his injury?
That shoulder strain. The MRI revealed it was a little bit more than what they initially thought. So, but I don't know.
No,
if he says he's going to be done, if it was in July and he's done for the year, well, my math tells me you're not going to be ready till about July or something like that then.
Yeah, you hope he's going to be ready. I don't know, because he's a big part of that team.
Just get him healthy for a postseason run at this point. Hopefully you're still in that position. But
yeah, exactly. But I'd like to have him back before that.
All right. I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break, and then we'll catch up with Jake. If you have any very last-second questions for our Wisconsin Conservation Warden, you can text those right now, 715-830-1912. Quick break, and we'll be back with our quick outdoor tidbits after these few words. All right, turkey season is fully underway right now. Depending on where you're at, it might be a little wet or snowy yet at this point and such, or maybe even a little windy. So, but time to catch up with our good buddy, Mr. Jake Boakes, conservation warden. Jake, have you been checking out some turkeys, checking out some hunters and all that? Have you heard any how the season's been going in the early part so far?
Yeah, so I went out yesterday, saw a few, but I didn't see much success right away in the morning. I think some guys had better success in the afternoon and such, but there were some hunters out. But like you said, it was a wet, cold morning, and that's kind of what it is today. Most of the people hunting right now are in blinds or something like that.
Mm-hmm. We did have somebody ask the other day, said, "Hey, when next time you have Jake on, just to double check, do you still need or do you need a small game license to go turkey hunting?"
Yeah, for small game, or excuse me, for turkey hunting, you don't need a small game license. You need that for waterfowl hunting. Is usually where that kind of works and is where people forget it. Obviously, any other small game you'd be hunting, coyotes, stuff like that, you'll need it. But for turkeys, you need a turkey stamp, you need a spring turkey license, and you need to have a valid spring turkey harvest authorization or tag. So
Gotcha.
three things for turkey hunting:
Gotcha.
license, tag, and stamp.
And that's pretty easy too. Like with on the if you buy it on the app, like for me, it kind of tells you like what else you need when you're buying that tag, like for the turkey one especially. You know, for the
Yeah,
application and the tag, it's kind of got a nice little like rundown or checklist of all the other things you need on
yeah,
there.
like a prompt. Yeah, for sure. Especially the first time you buy your stuff. Usually, most people buy their licenses the first time for the turkey stuff here. So, like you said, they'll kind of go through and say, "Hey, don't forget your stamp. Don't forget your this."
Hmm.
Your turkey stamp's good for the whole year. So, if you go fall turkey hunting, you don't need to buy a new turkey stamp, but you do have to buy a new fall turkey license.
Interesting. So speaking of online stuff too, uh, kind of another question that we had yesterday too was like information or prior information, maybe like for your hunter safety or ATV, you know, certification. That's all available online for the Go Wild app, right?
Yeah. So if you go on the Go Wild app, log in, and if you haven't gone on there in a while, you should really just go in and create an account because it's just like any other website now where you can go in there, create a username and a password, and then depending on your phone or whatnot, um, we were talking about this yesterday, so I went in this morning and did mine, and it's easy. My phone remembers the password and everything, so I just click Go Wild and it logs me in, and then right at the beginning, it has a box that says My Gear, and it shows your registered vehicles, your game registrations and stuff, but it also has a box for safety certifications, and it shows everything. So if you have like a kid and you're looking to bring something out in the field with them to show that they have their safety certificate for hunting or boating or whatever, you can go to Go Wild and then you can download it to your phone or you can print it, and it comes off in a nice, easy to read document.
Absolutely. So, have you run into any issues so far with turkey hunting, or still kind of anything from the past weekend with the youth side, or still good to go, or still all off to a good start?
Yeah, off to a good start in this area. There's a lot of snow in other parts of the state still, so I think that's limiting some hunting up north and to the east a little bit. But just like, every year, and I think I mentioned it last week when we were talking. I don't remember exactly, but with the youth hunt, there's always some parents and kids that end up shooting two birds and on accident, and so we deal with that and different things, and some that don't have their licenses, and sometimes it's an accident, sometimes it's intentional from the mentor to try to save money for the kid and stuff. So there's always those kind of things, but for the most part, it sounds like it's been safe. It's been cold, but I've seen some videos myself of people sending me. One of my friends doubled up this morning with their dad and some other stuff. So there's definitely turkeys moving. I saw a lot of them yesterday out in the field when it was raining. So there's definitely turkeys, and it might not be ideal, but they're there, and it's a good time of year. And at least around here, there's no snow, so
Hmm.
you can move around a little bit easier.
How nervous are you about the opening of the fishing season with the water levels where they are?
We still, I would think around here I wouldn't imagine it's going to stay up at this flood level, this high gauge for another month. I mean, I guess maybe it's not a full month, but we still got a good 3 weeks before the opener, and I would assume the Chippewa and everything would come down, within that time. Maybe not to a normal level, but at least down where it's safer. Maybe further in the southern part of the state, especially along the Mississippi or down, Crawford County and south. All of that water is still going to be pouring down from up north and from here, so it might be different down south. But up north, they're expecting it to be all right, and here I'm thinking it'll be all right. But it's always good to check, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. How did it last time we talked to you, Jake? I mean, kind of a change in a week. You were going down to help out with some wildfires, and then we had all the snow and all that. But how did that all work out last week when we last chatted with you?
Yeah, for the most part, I mean, when it comes to like human safety and everything, it worked out good. No one got injured or anything like that. I went down to the the Millston, I think they call it the Arcadia fire or Fort McCoy fire, that area. So I was there, from the time I talked to you that morning until the following day, and everyone, all the residents were really decent to work with, and were, in a tough situation, but everyone was safe. I think they lost a couple buildings here and there, but for the most part, within a day or two after I got there, it was under control, and it ended up working out pretty good for that.
Good.
But yeah, pretty crazy to go from wildfires to, I got an email last night saying, get your boats ready. We're going to, be prepared to go help with any flooding in the southern part of the state and all these kind of things. So a lot of different environmental factors going on this year.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Jake, hey, appreciate the time as always, buddy. And I'm going turkey hunting tomorrow. I'm not too confident in it though, because my area, Taylor County, they got pounded with all that snow.
Yeah.
So
it was snowing there yesterday, I saw.
What? Don't tell me that.
I got a buddy that lives up there. He was sending me a video of it snowing with some Christmas Jingle Bell songs going on. I don't think it was much, but it's not melting if it's snowing, right?
I've been following my Tacticam on my phone, so like when it first came, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch this branch or this stick. So it's like been my measuring stick on my photos here. I'm like, okay, it's going down a little bit, but not as fast as I want it to. So
exactly. Well, you never know. Maybe that'll push the turkeys to a spot where you can get them, but it's at least it should be a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Every day is a little bit better. So hopefully you have some success tomorrow.
Get white coveralls. You'll be all set.
Yeah, right. No kidding.
There you go.
I'll just make a snowman and just hide behind that, for crying out loud.
Make a snow turkey and see if they come into that.
Yeah, I'll try to tease them that way. All right, JK, appreciate it, buddy. Always great to catch up with you. Have a good weekend, and we'll chat with you next week, bud.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. Thanks.
You got it. There you go. There's Jake hopping off here this morning. So again, if you have any luck out there turkey hunting, send those pictures on over, or whatever pictures you want, and we'll put them up there, and you can just continue to make me jealous of envy every time I see them.
Driving around, you see a lot of turkeys just off the side of the highway, and flocks of 5, 6, 12. I saw one the other day. So there are a lot of them out there. If they're exposing themselves that close to the highway, there's a lot of birds in the countryside.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, all right, we're gonna take our final break and then wrap up things here on this Thursday morning. Last show of the week too. We won't be on tomorrow, so we'll be back on Monday. But got any draft crushes out there? 1 week away from the first round. Send those puppies on over. We'll look at them. Take a look at them. Wrapping things up on this Thursday. Again, reminder we won't be on tomorrow, so we'll be back with you on Monday morning. So, let me ask you this, intern. I know we did a receiver defer on it, best available, but if you had to rank it, what do you think is the biggest position of need Green Bay has to address in the draft?
Oh boy, I think they need a wide receiver to help Jordan Love if he's going to have any chance of succeeding, because he can't do it alone. He's not going to uplift. He's got a couple of decent guys, but he needs another one, a tight end or somebody to help him on the offense. The defense definitely needs help, but if Jordan Love is going to get the ball to start this season, they've got to find some help for him.
Okay, there you go. So the rest of you can, if you want to, or maybe hold it on till next week and such. So, but that'll really kind of kick it into gear next week.
What do you think?
Draft.
What do you think they need first? If you're going to be the first draft, take that first player, and again, we said the best player available, but if you were really going to focus on a position.
If it were me and I could just the biggest position, maybe I'm a little old school in this thing. I want another defensive lineman. I want a front seven that is just absolutely dominant. So
do I. I mean, I can't argue there, but I just think Jordan Love's going to need help. I mean, you get 3 and out with our defense, then Love comes in there with no help, 3 and out, no offense. I just think he needs some help.
I might go defensive lineman and tight end in my top 2.
Yeah, I don't know how many quality tight ends there are in this draft.
A lot of good ones.
Good.
It's one of the better ones.
Good, because we can use more than one maybe, because we really don't have any tight ends of quality on this roster right now that I've seen anyway.
No, I mean, the only ones on there is Josiah DeGuara and Tyler Davis. So there's a legit shot, I think. I think right now they're going to at least get 2. They might double down and get a couple.
They're going to need them.
So that's my personal opinion, but we'll see how the draft plays out. And we've seen Green Bay do that before, where they've doubled or tripled down on a position. I mean, they did it with the receivers. They did it with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams in back-to-back picks. So we'll see. But I would say don't forget too that, I know you mentioned running back. I do think they're going to get a running back on day 3.
Oh yeah, down that far, but I don't think it's an immediate need or anything like that.
And I mean, I guess we can't necessarily rule out second or third round, because they did do that with AJ Dillon when they already had Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. But there depending on how they view Aaron Jones, this could be his last year, depending on how his contract's structured. And AJ Dillon is a free agent, so I think they'll at least get one.
Who was the kid that came in last year when they had a little injured running back? He came in and he didn't do bad. I don't remember his name, but he came in for a while and played pretty good offense. And whether they can find a guy like that on the second day or the third day, there always seem to be running backs in the draft that are drafted down and do come on and surprise in their rookie season. So if they can find somebody like that, you can't be opposed to production.
I know everybody's got their mocks out, and I'm just kind of scrolling through now. The big kind of, what do you want to call it, talking point or thing that's trending out there is this, like, why is CJ Stroud all of a sudden like falling down? And everybody's kind of going after Brady Quinn right now, because apparently Brady Quinn said that CJ Stroud was originally signed up for the Manning Passing Academy. Then he backed out like the night before, or ghosted him the night before. So that's why, that's red flags for everybody that he did that. But then there's other reports saying, well, he stayed with his team and worked out with his team. So there's a lot of drama going on right now. But what else would you expect a week before the draft of smoke screens and rumors and rumblings and reports and all this other stuff that's
and
out there?
Like I said earlier, with the Murphy supposedly telling Gutekunst, no, we're not getting enough from the Jets yet. Same thing happens during the draft. How much of this stuff is contrived? Because let's face it, if you're the beat reporter for Carolina or Houston or somebody like that, you want to create some controversy, even if it's over and above anything the team would ever tell you, because you don't want to cover a bum of a team. You don't want to cover a team that has no chance to win. So you want to do anything you can in your media to create concerns, or maybe another team that's going to be drafting the same kind of player you want raises an eyebrow. I mean, there's so many games that are played around draft time, not just by the people in the organizations, but by the media as well. And I'm sure it's probably with the blessing of the teams as well. Create as much controversy and confusion as you can out there, so that some of these teams might make a mistake and let a player drop in the draft. So who knows what's in the minds of men and women as this gets closer to the draft, because there are going to be a lot of people that are going to speculate, quote unquote, on what Team X is going to do and Team Y is going to do, and is C.J. Stroud going to drop? Who knows?
Oh, all the drama. That's why we watch it.
Absolutely.
That's why we watch it.
So. Who and I haven't paid that much attention, but these draftniks of ESPN and NFL Network and all these guys, is there a consensus of who they think the Packers might be looking at if they stay in their position?
Nope. You got tight end picks, you got offensive tackle picks, you've got wide receiver picks, you've got an edge pick. I mean, it's been all over the place. If I had to pick one, maybe it's a tight end, just slightly, a little bit, whether it's like Dalton Kincaid or
that kid from Notre Dame won't be
around. Mayer might be there too. So, it's probably maybe a little bit over tight end, but I'd say otherwise I've seen a lot with the offensive tackle on there too. A little depth over there, but I don't know. The thing is, with offensive tackle, there's a legit shot, and this might grind your gear here a little bit. You won't be a starter day one if they draft a tackle at 15.
Wow, that would be surprising.
Because it's Bakhtiari and Yash. So
Bakhtiari's still a Packer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was just at
Has that calmed down a little bit? Some of the comments he made about
he was working out.
And
he was working out this week with the team.
Good.
He was in the facility. So yeah. It'd be a future pick, which I don't know if a lot of people would like it initially. But again, what's your expectations for the team this year too?
And what's your expectation for Bakhtiari? How fragile is he? I mean, you might not be considered a game one starter, but by halftime, Bakhtiari could be down with that knee, because let's face it, he's had a lot of surgery on that knee, and he's had a lot of recuperating to do. How close to, I don't know, well, never be 100% again, but how close to being able to play 17 games is he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there you go. We'll see. We'll find out.
Where
got a lot of needs.
Where is the draft this year? What city?
Kansas City.
Oh, it's in Kansas City.
Yeah, you should go down there. Isn't it a farm thing that you have to go down for or something like that?
Yeah, get down there. But I wonder where they're going to hold it.
I just saw it.
Civic Auditorium, or?
It's going to be huge. I saw some of the drawings or the mock-ups. Let me just see if I can find it here for you quick.
We've got a big auditorium.
The iconic Union Station. In front of, okay, so wait, all performances, this is the performance, will take place at the Draft Theater in front of the iconic Union Station, Kansas City. Do you know where that's at?
Yeah, it's right across from where I stay when we go to but I didn't think that big enough for the draft, but maybe it is.
Here we go. Let's get a little bit of a write-up. Yep, will take place in Kansas City, downtown areas surrounding the iconic Union Station and the National World War I Museum and Memorial.
Yep, that's right. Union Station's on one corner, the World War I Museum is on another, and the Crown Center, a huge hotel complex. It's right near the other Hyatt, which years and years ago, remember on, you wouldn't remember, but on New Year's Eve, came crashing down with their balconies and everything. So, yeah, I know exactly where that's going to be.
Yeah, the Memorial Courtyard. Yep. And all. Yeah, so this is where it's all heading, or it's being hosted at. So, there you go.
Yep.
Go down there and bring me back some barbecue sauce or something.
Oh, there's a great Jack Stack's barbecue places right below Union Station. It's throw a football there and get there. Great, great barbecue.
Hopefully, I know Murphy was, when he was in Eau Claire, he said they're counting on Green Bay having it in 2025 or 2027. One of those 2 years. He thought they were getting it next year. And then he said, for some reason, Detroit got it. So But there you go. So I hope it does come to Green Bay. I will be there if it's going to be in Green Bay. I went to the first one in Chicago in 2015, and seeing this how it is now on TV, like the 15 draft in Chicago was nothing. I mean, you had a beer tent and a couple radio stations there, and they had to play 60 thing there, and that was about it. Now it's like these huge events. They're having a freaking concert beforehand, but it was the first one. They didn't know what they had in their hands, you know?
No, these are.
Now it's a huge event. So.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to go to it again.
Big enough to hold it all?
Well, the whole Titletown district. Well, they did the brand new Rush Center they added on there. Now they got those huge concerts or the Brown County Arena or whatever.
Yeah, right across the street there.
Yeah, so they could buy a couple more houses and tear them down. They got
the money to do it.
Yep. So, but yeah, with that whole area, I'm sure they would. They can fit 80,000 fans plus on a game day. Maybe 85,000 for.
Yeah,
draft.
I just don't know about the actual setup for the draft. Is a lot of people, and you got the green room or whatever they call it, where all those expected first round draftees are sitting, and
so they probably do that. I would assume in the Rush Center or the whole conference, whatever it is now. So they'd probably do that all in there, and I don't know where they would do the live portion of it. Maybe
wouldn't it be nice if you had weather like we had here last week for the draft? Do it right out on the field in Lambeau, but you can't plan that.
No. Yeah, I remember when I was down in Chicago, it was cold for that one because we were outside watching the live portion of it.
Yeah.
So it was cold, but it was right on the lake too. You had that Lake Michigan over there. It's on Michigan Ave. So
yeah, if you're down around Lake Michigan, wasn't it Soldier Field at all?
No, it was downtown Michigan. Yeah, it was right on Michigan Ave.
Well, they've got that huge area there.
I
remember when years and years ago when the Pope came, they had 300,000-400,000 people there on that area. So it's something else.
Yeah. All right. Well, shot clock's going to cut me off here. So
good luck on the turkey hunt. You got any secret recipes or anything like that?
I just want to get one so I can put it in a smoker right away.
There you go.
I don't know why. Some people don't like wild turkey like right away, but I put on a smoker.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Put on a smoker. Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fantastic. So
you don't make it like a regular Thanksgiving turkey in the oven, put it in a smoker or the oiler or whatever it is.
Throw it in there, and then you're good to go.
There you go. Pull it off in chunks. All right. My mouth is watering.
Way to put the pressure on now. G-Man, if you're listening, you might have to bring Bob a turkey just to cover for me next week or something. So, all right, DP and Dan, that's up next. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll be back at it Monday morning. Draft week officially kicks off on Monday. Also, we'll see how the Brewers do against the Bucks or the Red Sox, and then how the Bucks do this weekend.